it's not bi-weekly.
Yeah, the weekly.
Yeah.
You know.
Because we got nothing else to do.
We only get paid bi-yearly. That's where you get it confused.
Yeah. Wait, what? We get paid? No, what? Don't tell them.
What? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so welcome to the 130th weekly live stream. It's like July 17th or something. It's like 5:34. We definitely are not late to start the stream.
We're fashionably late.
Fashionably? Like rarity?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just watching Shimmy Shimmer.
So.
Yeah, so welcome. Today we have Alicon.
Hello.
And Fluffy's Eye.
Hello.
And somewhere in the background you might see a brush moving around that's automatically fluffing things. That'd be a cute pencil case.
Yeah, she's the magical fluff wizard.
Magical indeed.
Kind of like a fluff fairy.
Yeah, that's much. She's the fluff mouse.
So like every time my pet sheds, do I put the fluff under the pillow and CPC visits me?
Yeah. And then you wake up in the middle of the night and give her a hug.
It's a weird way to refer to Inky.
Listen.
Anywho, welcome all.
We're doing the drawing thing.
So this week we have 2 submissions so far. Remember, everyone submit your art, or else it doesn't get critiqued. Because that's how this game works. You submit your questions and pictures, and then we do them. Otherwise, they don't get done. Does it make sense? I hope it does.
We need the art to critique it.
Yeah.
And tell your friends. Be like, hey, this is fun stream, and they help you do art better, and they're nice about it.
No, we're mean.
Meanie
Rawr. Meanie bobinis.
So, wanna draw? Your picture. I hope they can hear us, see us, listen to us. Not taste us, though. Or can they?
Maybe they have taste-o-vision.
That's the smell-o-vision is part of the. It's one of the add-ons I can get for the VR gear that's coming. I can get smell.
Stranger Sora said, "What do all of you smell like?"
Does it just smell like paint and paper?
Let me see.
Stranger Sora said, "I mean taste like."
Oh, I can answer that one.
Yeah.
So Allie,
smell like because I had a shower.
Kind of like a mixture of like plastic from all the Minky that she just keeps rolling around in giant piles of. And there's a little lavender rolled in there. I don't know what. It might be the hair product.
I smell like custard creams because I'm eating custard creams.
Well, that might just be because you're basting yourself in custard creams.
What a way to take a bath.
I just smell like shower gel, honestly. I had a shower, and I'm fluff now.
All right, we got wanna draw a thing.
Yay, he's replied. We were just stalling for time, obviously.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So, what about the composition? I'll try and improve the pony style too, but it's still in progress. It's composition. Composition is interesting. There's stuff going on, and a lot of it makes sense, but it's very central.
It's hard to say much about the pony design because it's like a back view thing. Though I'm not sure what you guys think on the ears, whether those look right to you guys or not.
Ears
I feel like they should be a little bit more tucked down, maybe, but I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, draw this head circle. I believe in you. Use the power of the head circle.
Head circle.
Head circle.
I'm talking more about the angle than like sizing.
Wow. You can all figure that out through the power of a head circle.
Yes, we can. But you're good with the head circle thing. I don't use measurements. So.
Please never build.
Jam. I don't want to steal your jam. What will you put in your sandwiches?
That's a great phrase.
Now I just want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for everyone.
Yay!
So, while LD does his mathematic circles, I will answer your something on your first question about composition. So it is very interesting. We sort of outline things. So drawing a straight line on this is very hard. Watch me attempt. Okay.
Wait, I think if you hold shift, it'll do a straight line.
This isn't even an
Nope.
important line. I literally just need, like, okay, here's like where the picture cuts off because like the canvas space is annoying me. Okay. So it sort of ends around. I can't even do it downward. Oh, God. Like around here. Woo. So if we look at the actual image, the rule of thirds sort of be like here-ish.
I believe in you.
I can't draw straight lines, but
Can I give you a hand here? Put your
Yes.
put your pen on where you're gonna start. Look where you're gonna go without looking at your pen, and do one stroke.
I never look at my pen, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I just.
Whoa!
That's the closest I can get doing like the move the arm thing. But okay, so my point was just that your pony is like sort of oddly spaced. Basically, with the rule of thirds, you either want to fall within one of the segments or on the that's not color. Or on the line of one of the segments. So either your pony would be here, which would be probably the nicest thing, because then it's like, hey, so the view is offset and it gives us more of an interesting pose, or you have your pony direct center, and that's obviously like the center focus then. But it can work very nice to have things asymmetrical, which I think is what you've done here. It's just like if you establish where the rule of thirds is, you can establish exactly where your pony should be from an asymmetrical standpoint. Because at the moment, since it's sort of half and half and it's not really anywhere, it kind of looks like it's almost there but not quite, and it sort of feels like it misses the mark a little bit. But that is my opinion anyway.
So another suggestion I have, another way to take on composition. Now it is interesting to see a pony from behind, but to me, I don't know what the focus is because there's a lot of things we're looking at. Now, sometimes to make a composition more interesting, we try to take it from a more of an angle instead of like a flat front or a flat back, give some dimension to it. And one of the reasons we also do that, or it can be done like that, because eyes are the biggest attention grabbers. Humans automatically try to match eye contact with what they see. It's a natural instinct. So like if there's a focus point, if your pony is the focus point, let people make eye contact with it. And that's just one way of doing things, one way to get that attention point. Because like I said, right now I don't really quite like the overall picture is what I'm looking at. There's nothing specific. I just kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but I don't have a vocal.
It looks like it just took a picture of a bedroom as opposed to taking a posed picture, like a proper composition. Because the composition is supposed to draw someone around. You're supposed to bring them around. It's just not supposed to be a spattering. You can use a spattering of objects to do it, but you have to give cues to help them around because you gotta like lead them by the eyeballs.
Absolutely.
I just had no idea. Because as Ali was saying, there's a lot of stuff around that we're looking at, and the pony kind of gets lost in that. But particularly with like the bodies of ponies, unless they're wearing clothes, there's a lot of like blank space. You got all this lovely detail on the desk. Like, you got like a cupcake that's been like bitten. That's awesome. You know, we can see stuff that's going on. You've got these books and like the coffee. It's still
and a little
warm.
bonsai over here.
Yeah, there's so much detail going on. I love the stuff around the pony on the desk, but there's a lot of detail here. Like it's really sharp and messy. Well, not messy, but you know, there's a lot of lines close together. So our eyes are seeing all this detail, and the pony's in the middle, very blank, so it's hard to see them. Where you got like this stuff here on the bulletin board, you could have some space, like sort of have some of the sheets like around here, and then have a space sort of outlining the pony. Maybe have like a big sheet of paper or something. But that way, if we just sort of do some things like maybe move the camera over a little bit, just leave basically a little space around the pony, it will help draw our attention to her. Or
you
him.
could even do something I thought of you could do. This looks like a investigation board kind of thing, like figuring out a secret. what if you made the secret where the pony's looking, like right where the head is, and you just have all these images coming in and pointing at the pony?
And
Like, it seems like very obvious, but also like these lines just
you gotta
going
have
towards...
you gotta have the strings.
Yeah, of course, the strings, but like even having like little arrows pointing to it, it kind of makes the viewer like, oh, I'm looking at this image, and then I follow the arrow. Oh, there's a pony. Oh, I'm looking at this image. Follow the arrow. Like stuff like that can really help with composition, and it doesn't have to seem obvious. Like, oh, there's an arrow pointing at a pony. Like it can blend in with your theme.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, it really does hide if you're working with composition and if you're working it in nicely.
Because something that Ali here is great at pointing out, like when we look at the pictures, oftentimes, Ali, you're really good at spotting, like, oh, like when you look at the background, it like leads your eye around this way and whatnot. And I can never like figure that out myself looking at stuff, and I always thought that was really cool. So I don't know like how that would work with this image. Like if you were to change around things in the background, how would you do that to create sort of like a natural flow, just with the general composition of the room?
I honestly wouldn't make it straight back to you. I think a lot of the times to help lead somebody, and it can really be helpful to get that dimension, having things turned or not such a strict I cannot think of the thing that we're drawing in the grid. What is it? Perspective. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank myself.
Thank you, brain.
See, I think the thing for me is when you have as clean as perspective as you do right now, it becomes more mechanical and flat, which is not a bad thing. It's its own thing. And I know I used to do a lot of perspective drawings for like designs of like furniture and tables and stuff, things that like need to be very sturdy and rigid, and even curvy things. But I think to give life to it and to give movement, we need to break down some of those hard lines, because we have a lot of straight lines going on, a lot of them. And I know there's a lot of straight objects, but we can do things to not make them perfectly straight, or at least make them feel a little more voluminous. Like having it tilted slightly, we could see like maybe the depths of this board coming out. The table could be slightly different, maybe like it's a little worn on the edges, so we don't have like those sharp corners, or maybe there's like a little nibble, I don't know, that's more detail stuff than anything. But the only organic shape you have is really the pony. Yes, there's little things, but everything else is kind of very rigid. So to get more flow into it, you gotta put more naturalness into the picture. Even your curtains, they are very stiff. Like, add that, make them a little more, give them some swoop. Fabric, bends and hangs. It's got that weight pulling at it. Experiment. It's just mostly just try to be loose, and you'll find that flow. It'll come.
So I would take this a different direction. Instead of drastically altering the picture, I'd alter the light to help frame my picture more. And I would use
Good idea.
I would use the assumption that the viewer has just stepped through a doorway into them, and you are flooding the room with additional light to add into the light that's the only sole light that's there, which would be an atmospheric light, something to help add to that scene, a single lamp basically on the desk shining onto this board, and everything else is going to be having shadows cast from that, and then the light source that is coming from the door. And this will help you create a framing effect by dropping heavy dark shadows across both sides of the image. It will still allow you to place things, all sorts of things along the sides, but it'll also help you cover them up so you can direct people towards what you're looking for.
Ooh, I like that. Nice call. See, there's so many answers to one problem. That's the thing with art.
Mm-hmm. You just gotta be creative.
Because maybe we're telling you one thing and there could be another answer. This is just
exactly. This
how
is just
we
our
would
opinions.
answer it.
And you could find your own answer that isn't what we said, but that works too. And that doesn't mean, just because you figure out something that you try experiment and say, oh yeah, actually I really like this, but it isn't what they were talking about in the stream. I feel like I want to do it anyway. You don't have to feel like you're being a rebel with that. It's just you figured out your own answer, and it's great.
Throwing on a leather jacket. I'm doing it my own way.
Rebel without a canvas.
That's how I'm gonna do art from now on. I'm just gonna like grab a leather jacket. Get out the finger paints. It's my way.
You got any other questions there for us, buddy?
Hopefully, it was understandable. Wow, 20 hours.
Yeah, apparently.
Nice work. Though I might suggest you don't have to really do that like whole 20-hour thing. It's okay to not. It's like it's good to do this every once in a while, but if you find yourself doing a lot of really long pieces, it's not really going to help improvement. More work getting out will help.
There will be a certain limitation if you never do a picture where you try to line it and spend time on it. Every once in a while, you've got to have a picture that you really go for, and you know it's good to do those like on a semi-regular basis. But it's also good between them to just do lots of little sketches and lots of fun little drawings, because then that will keep you flexible and keep you learning and improving.
I honestly think, like, for people who want to get better at lining and stuff, I think you can get better faster at that by letting yourself be messier in sketches, because the more you flow with your sketch, the more your hand kind of learns to be confident and gain that flow, and then you'll slowly but surely keep getting those stronger, more confident lines, and you can then translate that into practicing your inking and such, and like even with the practice with sketching, you're gonna have a leg up in inking. It's just more unerasable, and that's okay too. You're allowed to make mistakes and try again. Oh no, did we lose one to draw?
I don't know.
They might have dropped. They said they're having some interesting connection issues.
Oh.
Well, at least this thing's recorded, so fingers crossed.
So yeah, they'll still be able to see it later, which is great.
I really like this composition you posted, Cold Trail.
Where?
The grouping and composition. Man, Zootopia has so many good art tips. If you guys can afford to, totally suggest the Zootopia art book.
Totes.
It's just got a lot of great material in it.
Hey, Project Rabbit, which one of those two do you want us to critique?
Yeah, that's what I was asking as well. Some nice pics.
Second one, the pony.
Just a horsey.
Stranger Saurus said flagged.
No, it's the off-brand Magical Princess Horseland dolls. You can't prove it.
Is that the full
Stranger
official name?
Saurus said FLAGGED.
Dang it.
Just...
What was the weird off-brand thing that was getting decent animation in like a song? It was like Philly Fantasia or something.
Yeah, that was it. All right. What questions do you got for us on this one?
The leggies.
She's stepping back without and turning her hip towards the viewer without showing the side of her butt. It's a butt, Prom Alley. It's a butt.
Go butt.
I have a question, and it's just staring at me. What is that supposed to be? This thing right here.
Yeah, that looks like a really extreme eyelash.
Mean. Okay.
Gotcha.
The inking just got a bit aggressive and filled it in.
What did they say about the pose? That
they're not sure about the legs.
That they are trying to turn in a certain way, or are they just facing?
No, that's what I was seeing. And I was just saying it out loud.
Oh, okay.
Because I like the sound of my own
so
voice.
Are they facing sort of towards the camera, forward like this? That's sort of what I want to know, because that's what I'm seeing. It's just the way the back hip is placed in front of the front. It looks like there.
Like, I feel like they're on the right course with the leg. That I think if the pony's walking, that there may be a little bit shown, but not the full amount you have here. Just a little bit of leg.
I would advise giving the legs some nice curve. They're not going to be super straight, flat. Like, imagine if this was actually just a leg and there's no joints. It was literally just like a lampshade attached to them. It'd be really hard to walk as a pony. But they got like a joint here and a joint here, and they got little hoofy parts.
Poofy parts. I like that term.
Yeah, they look like a robot now. But yeah, because they're really just a robot with pony flesh and fur. But I'm not sure if that's far enough. So let's look at the plane that they're standing on. I know the paper is kind of curved, so there's not really. We'll sort of take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to angle it a little bit just because of the paper.
Yeah, I definitely do feel like it's somewhat third, fourth. Like, if I were to draw a little box, that's what I've seen. It's more little box.
Depends what point of the walk cycle this is, or if they're just standing. Try to unangle.
So yeah, they said it's just a bit of a pose.
Alright then. Minor correction.
Stranger Sora said, just so you know, we are not dead.
Usually. I've just changed the color slightly so we can actually get a little more depth behind the neck, because it does appear to be a thick piece of clothes. And I've also made the front mane obey gravity a bit instead of just wandering off like a snake out of the hair. Beyond that, you've done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Definitely play with your inks more.
Yeah. And if you want to improve on clothing, look up a bunch of clothing tutorials. Like, something that can give dimension to clothing is folds, little details in folds and how it like grips to the pony and such. Easier to just do some Googling and spend some time researching that. Even like draping a shirt over a chair and seeing how that shirt kind of leaves wrinkles and folds as it drapes there. Because it'll do the same thing on a human, a pony, whatever's wearing clothes. Yeah, like CPC over here, our fluffer, is working on some, just roughing up the clothes, having gravity on it.
Yep.
Nice little attention to like gravity on the pony, of like the clothes against the pony, different effects of that nature.
I feel like there was a point when I was like still sort of very much learning like art. There was a point when I studied a little bit of clothing detail from like a How to Draw Anime book, and it was pretty, obviously it was a lot worse than I am now, but I feel like I was doing okay with them, and then somehow I got less okay with drawing clothes and creases and stuff. But it's all about just being flexible and keeping in mind like how the clothes fall. Obviously there's none on the back leg, I was just sort of doodling. Oh no.
And you want to do extreme poses, you say? If you want to work on extreme posing, I highly recommend, yes, exaggeration, but looking up what gesture drawing is and looking at old school animation artists. Because the exaggeration and extremeness they do is really great to learn from. And even if it's too far or too cartoony for what you want to go for, that's fine, because you can always dial it back or go further. But never be afraid to try that.
Yeah, we always recommend exaggerating and going further than you need to, because it can be very hard to get exactly to the goal you're trying to do. So if you're being kind of hesitant with it, and it's sort of like, I'm trying to get this, but you're trying to do it exactly and not go too far, then you end up like going partially the way. Whereas if you exaggerate and you really push it, you go like to the extreme and you make the pose very extravagant. It might be that you decide it's too extreme and you want to go back and dial it back but then you can, and it's easier to then dial it to exactly the kind of point that you want to the T, and it's exactly what you need it to be. Or you might decide, actually, I really like this super exaggerated pose. That's really easily expressing the thing that I'm trying to do with this picture.
Absolutely. So yeah, some terms, if you do want to do that, get yourself to do some research for exaggeration, action lines, and gesture sketching. Those are going to be some things you want to look up, study up, and get to know. They will help you with doing more extreme poses.
Yeah.
All right then. On to the next one.
Let's go.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
We got a submission from the chat.
Do
Or at
we?
least someone was asking if we were still taking submissions, but they haven't given us a...
Well, until they throw the submission at our face, we'll do honeysuckle.
Oh yeah.
So this is by Lexi Sketch. Yeah.
Cute name.
They do have quite a bit of critique from the ever wonderful Maze Temporal, but we're just going to reiterate some with little doodles above.
Okay.
So Maze has said legs are kind of intense and too long. It's probably the biggest issue. Try to study some legs of horses and see what is going on. Cutie Mark has gradient highlight and a shadow, which is unusual. Bottom line of the body has inverse curve. Possibly something about the shape of the hair around the ear. And also the color going too close to the body color. Tail base should not overlap the body in the side view. Shadow around the front leg attachment is not consistent with any light source. Some lines have jagged edges that would be nicer if reworked. Inner mouth from side view implies the back half of the mouth is not smiling. Not a really big deal, just something to think about. Top swirl line of the tail has a very sharp turn right before spiral. And finally, one of the color ribbons on the back head intersects with the swirl. Since the same color, it joins together.
Well done, Maze. I was actually going to say about the cutie mark as well, because it's sort of like matching the painting style here, but it sort of having it at the side like that makes me think of it being like a ref sheet, and you're going to want to have the cutie mark, especially if people might copy and paste it from this, be something that will kind of go well in any art style, and typically the ones in the show are very flat vectors. Like oftentimes they can have outlines, some parts might be outlineless and just be sort of like very flat lineless vectors and stuff, but they typically are very simple. Also, CPC, you didn't have to remove your... I was drawing this leg based off of your skeletal stuff, and then you removed it. I was like, where am I going?
I do gotta say though, I do really like how this is rendered. I do enjoy the cutie marks rendering, even though it's like very complex for a...
Yeah, it does look very nice.
I do
It's
enjoy
just
it,
that
yeah.
we're saying just because of the context of what it is.
Yeah.
Can you get it stitched on a plushie easily? If the answer is no, it might be too complex.
Or you just...
You've got to get all the different shades of yellow and just do the shading gradually.
If you can pull it down to 2 shades, it can happen. So if you have like all this light yellow, and then maybe you have some dark yellow there to show off the thing, it'll be fine. It'll be great.
Exactly.
As for the belly, I totally agree. Usually horses have barrel chests, so it's more like come down curve and then you go up. There's no like up and then down. It goes
Yeah,
up.
that's something I used to do, a mistake
Yeah.
I've made until only recently.
They gotta have nice full tummies. They got a lot going on there. They ain't skinny, that's for sure.
They got cute little rubber ball tummies.
Exactly.
Don't take that away from them.
Don't take it away.
They need those belly rubs.
Yeah, and I don't know if you did this because you hear like ponies have a bean shape. They do. It's just mostly the bean curve is on this side. So like you gotta more like that.
Oh, we've seen this.
You are?
The picture that Tadpole.
Oh, we already looked at this one?
Well, no, this is on our subreddit. Or not on our subreddit, our chat. How can I... I don't know how to grab that.
You wouldn't really be able to do an animation very easily, except just like a particular frame of it. Very cool, though.
I mean, we can visually talk about it. We may not be able to grab it, but we can like stare. Zom can throw it up on the screen and we can talk about it.
We could just look at it and just talk about it, yeah.
Anyway, before we do that, any further questions on this one? Or, sorry, any further points on this one?
No, I mean, I think Maze covered it. Nope. Maze did the critique, right? I don't wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they covered a lot of what I agree with. So I don't got much else to add.
Okay then, we're gonna figure out how to do. So I'm just gonna drag this thing in front of our screen. The animated one.
That's all you gotta do.
CPC writing. Don't forget the lines on the tail.
Oh, the tail lines.
Click.
So this is something that like is very specific to show style, to have these sort of very bold lines. With the painterly style you're going for here, definitely they wouldn't be as blocky as you have it. I feel like there'd be a bit more, like I feel like you did it really nicely in this area here. They weren't just lines that were showing up, these feel like lines that were incorporated into the hair. So I think it's a matter of, I think you can do this, but you need to spend more time on it and maybe go back and try again, because it feels way more rushed compared to the rest of the curls, like the rest of the mane. Especially
at the top curl there on the tail where it like juts out. It's like, ugh. But it's, yeah, I would agree. Like, if you take this idea and experiment with it, like maybe try doing it at some sort of lighter strokes that then sort of bend into getting thicker as they go into the tail swirls. I don't know. It's up to you to experiment. You might find something that works and combines that appearance of, oh, there's like the streaks in the mane with something that actually looks like hair with your painted style.
Others, yeah. Keep Tootie.
Yes.
And I like CPC's simplification, so there you go. If you ever want a plushie, that's all you gotta do.
And if you want a plushie, commission Anicle.
No.
Not ready.
No. I don't even have my sewing machine unpacked yet.
What?
I know. It's a whole nother story, but back to the stream.
I need more plushies.
Shenanigans.
I posted 2 of them.
Alright, so... No, who is this? Tadpole. What questions you got about this thing? Because it's freaking awesome.
I really like the sort of eye roll, and then it just gets trippy with the black hole shenanigans.
Also, I want to see your light table setup because this is pretty cool.
It's interesting that this is like an actual stop motion like sketch, it's not just like a thing on a computer. It's actually pretty cool. You don't see much actual traditional animation.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do it on like Animate or Clip Studio or something with keyframes.
10 points to Gryffindor.
BFC said it's photographed on a pencil test setup.
Knowledge from BFC. Yeah, I was thinking with CPC, there's like a big pause where like the eye stops and it's like freeze, and then it goes and it's like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know what like you're trying to achieve with the whole swirling away thing.
It's just freaking amusing to watch.
Yeah, I don't really have any.
That part is very smooth animation, very nice. Was there something in particular about the pony you wanted us to look at?
Very smooth. Things seem to stay, you know, like proportionate. There's no like crazy jumping proportions.
I would say everything is in a good perspective. Bearing in mind we are like looking sort of from a looking down at her, and we can see like all 4 hooves on the ground kind of thing. But they are very much lined up in a square. she has a nice plane she's sitting on, and it's not like some things where like the hood's at wrong angles and everything.
You could do a little correction to the snoot and the eye, like the far eye, because the far eye is bulging out of the head. I would just make sure that the shape of them holds there when you turn the head, because you lose. It still looks like just a flat object when you turn the head the way you do it.
I do really like what I agree with what BFC said, that it's really nice bend and stretch there with the face when she does the eye roll.
Absolutely.
Very flexible and squishy. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, don't got much. I could just stare at this forever.
Oh. So what BFC is saying is good, is that you can, BFC's suggestion is that you can, to make the resting pose feel more dynamic and natural, you can have a little bit of bounce, so sort of have her go back down and bounce back up, just like an extra couple of little frames, just to sort of have her settle in, maybe have the main bounce on gravity a little bit. You can see a very tiny, like, one frame of it, but it sort of freezes, and it's like, it basically feels like time stopped, and then it's being warped away. Whereas if you added a couple more frames there, just to sort of have a nice little bit of natural idle stuff going on, then that can sort of flesh it out a bit more. And he says, "Oh, just draw the last pose 3 times, and keep those frames running. Seems alive." And yeah, because it is a bit obvious that it like pauses. Either way, I don't really have anything else myself. I think it's a great job. You're welcome.
Anyone else have any art they'd like critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask?
Yeah. Feel free to throw pictures at us to look at. I was actually just like trying to watch the last frame with the eye roll, and then you like stopped it right before it. Like, no.
Here you go, just for you. Bam.
BFC. No, I do still have it open on my browser somewhere.
So, alright. Got no other
No more
pictures?
art.
Last call.
I have another, but it's not Pony. Well, we'll take a peek at it. Are you like an animation student? Or is this just, haha, I kicked down the animation students' doors and stole their equipment?
Ate their soul.
That's already gone. They're an animation student. In the meantime, Fluttershy and Twiggly are gonna bounce on the monitor.
That works for me.
Both of the statements are true. So you are an animation student, but you also just kicked down the door and stole stuff. Alright.
Works for me. Boom, baby. Now I want to watch Emperor's New Groove.
Is it on Netflix? I bet it
I don't
isn't.
know. I think Kronk's New Groove is on Netflix.
Gross.
I know.
No, no, shh, no, shh, shh, shh.
UPC, don't steal.
Milo C.
If you act really nicely, you can go in and use the things.
Yeah.
No, I don't see the Emperor's New Groove there.
Damn.
But we do have Kung Fu Panda 3, so that's pretty freaking great.
That was a good movie.
Whoa!
All of them are good movies.
Walt Disney Short Film Collection was just added.
Nice.
Looks like we aren't getting any more art.
We do have a question from or another one from Tadpole.
Oh yes, you said they had a non-funny one.
That's a movie I haven't actually seen in a long time.
For them to... Oh, there it is.
That?
Yeah.
The Road to El Dorado.
Oh my gosh, I watched that last month during when we were moving.
It's
You just staring at Inky? Yep, you keep moving.
Oh wait, didn't we look
I'll
at
just
this
be
one?
here.
Didn't we?
Oh no, we didn't look at this one on the stream. We looked, it was in the critique chat only.
Okay.
Is there any particular questions you had on it? 'Cause I know you were asking about the angle of the characters at one point in the Discord. Is there anything you want us to look at that one? We can do it.
To my list. Just zoom it out. Sorry, I was adding the little prints to my list because apparently that was just added too.
Ooh, I've been wanting to watch that. Apparently, like,
We gotta get together and have a movie night.
the original studio who was making it gave up on it, so Netflix bought it and finished it.
I mean, we can have a movie night. That is well within our ability because
I
Netflix rabbit.
was saying to Ali, like we need to continue our anime watching, but there's also like I just want to watch movies now. I want to watch Coco with you guys. I haven't seen that again since I watched it. It's so good.
Coco was really good.
And I want to watch some Disney movies. I want to watch Inside Out, Pixar stuff.
Movie night.
So,
Everyone grab your popcorn and beer.
right. Is there any questions you have about this, Tadpole? Oh, there we go. I want to make the clouds pop. Okay. I'd say they very much pop. That's like the first thing I noticed when I looked at the picture, but obviously because there's no color on the characters yet. I would say, because one thing is like obviously you want the characters to be the main focus of the image. So when you've got the colors on there, for the characters, then it'll be a lot easier because then you can balance their color and their sort of values and saturation against the sky. Because you don't want the background to be too in contrast and take away the detail from the characters. So it's sort of about looking at the grayscale values of everything. So I'd say the clouds have a lot of sharpness and contrast to them already. So I don't know what exactly you feel needs to be more popping about them.
I think CPC said it all.
Make the light coming from the back of the character. Yeah, that could work. So a backlight.
God rays. Boo! Seriously, that's the common name of them.
Yeah, no, I know.
Cloud split light. Let's do it. We just spotlights from the sky coming descending from the sky.
CPC's fluffing the arrows. Love it. Yeah, I mean, also I think a lot of it can't be like, I don't know if I could even determine if they're not popping right now because it's so unfinished at this point.
Yeah.
Like there's just line art in the background. It's hard to like see how it would fight against the characters. I don't know what kind of color scheme's going on there or if there's going to be anything behind the characters directly.
Yeah. Because it's I mean obviously there's a big empty space right behind them. And that's, I mean, that isn't too bad because, like I was saying in one of the other pictures earlier, is it does frame the characters a bit, but it's about sort of making sure there is something going on, and it's not just like here's a couple of clouds and then everything else in the sky is just empty. We've got all this nice detail of clouds going on, and then it's sort of like, are there going to be any buildings behind them, stuff like that?
I think I remember in the sketch there's like a brick wall behind them or something.
Yeah, like BSC said, color is an important thing, but also very heavily depends on the time of day you're at. Because right now it works with like the just clear blue sky and just straight white clouds. It does work, but like if you were going sort of even like a little bit later in the day, then add some yellows in there. You know, later on in the evening we can sort of have some pinks thrown in. Yeah,
Yeah, I would do some like just value sketching and quick slap them into place to
Yeah.
see if truly they pop or not.
And before even that, just like firstly just try and turn the background off, get the colors of the characters in, even if it's just a draft of the colors, and then put the background back on. You can do some saturation. You just get the whole thing merged, or if your thing has some kind of fancy view mode you can go into, I don't know, but basically you want to get the whole picture with the colors turned to grayscale, and then you can see the values. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. Like then it'll show you exactly like what pops more than others in terms of contrast.
And I don't know if you've been doing this, but like, have you, while drawing, been zooming out? Because if you can zoom out and still understand what's going on, that's also a good sign that they're popping correctly. Like, you can zoom way, way out, maybe make it like literally the size of, I don't know, like a post-it note on your computer. And if you can still understand what's happening, odds are
go into
things are
thumbnail
working.
view.
Yeah.
Which I guess you can, if your program has it, you can use like the nav window. So I never use that, but except on OBS now I've shoved a tiny little spirit wind like in this like the one in the screen here in the stream. Just pop it out that window. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But yeah, I never use that, but that is a good reference point to look at to say, hey, how is this looking from a big perspective?
See, I always get I
Oh
can't
yeah,
use
cool.
it
You've been mirroring too. That's great.
Oh, good.
So you're gonna say something
now? No, I was just dumb about the little mirror. But continuing on with the art, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say, but I really do think if you want to find out if the clouds work or not, you have to fill in a bit more of the background, since it's not the only aspect of the background. So it's hard to make a complete opinion about it.
Yeah, I love CPC drawing like fluffy clothes on them, and you just use like the fluffy winter pom pom hat on the girl. You go, mousy girl. No, I don't really have any points. If there's anything else you wanted to know about it. I'm wondering who the characters are, by the way. Are they from a show?
Yeah, they're such like an interesting group.
Yeah, they really look like a...
I see like rebels and superheroes and like the one with the mask at the end. I get sorts of different vibes.
Yeah, like they're all sort of different misfit characters.
Well, you don't need to finish it to find out. It's
Yeah,
more like you can slap on stuff, like quick
just
do a messy skyscraper,
Yeah,
get the colors and values in.
Yeah, you don't need to finish the whole thing, but you do just, I think getting more progress in will definitely get you further. Like I know a lot of the times it can sort of be like you're stuck on one thing trying to figure that thing out, and like, oh, I don't know how to continue with this because I want to fix this first, and but then sometimes I think just putting a pin in that, continuing and just getting other things done, saying what else needs to be done, what can I do right now to make progress, any kind of progress, and you do that, and then oftentimes you can break down obstacles because then you can go back to that thing you're struggling with now that everything else is put in place and say, oh yeah, I can sort of figure this out now. From something called Worm, apparently, the characters. No idea what that is. I love CPCs. If they are fluffy, everyone will notice them. Brilliant.
Ooh, way to go, BFC.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a web book.
What's a web?
We'll have to find out what that's about.
Probably like a webcomic.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
The second one from the back almost looks like they've got like teeth and horns. So I'm not sure if I'm just seeing that wrong. I think it might be a feather actually.
You should totally share it with us when it's done.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think that's like a feather. Horns are cool. Do you have any other questions? They gave a thumbs up.
Awesome.
I'm glad that you enjoyed our services.
All right. Anyone else have any art
You're
they'd like critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask?
We have another sketch.
Ooh,
What?
we're making so much progress today.
Not a sketch.
A sketch, not a sketch.
It's not a sledge.
Sledge sketch.
Don't know what it is. Is it a picture?
I read sketch. I make so many typos. I tend to like read.
Stranger Saurus said it's not a sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. It's a surprise.
Oh my gosh.
Messy sketches are fine.
BFC said Sledgebluke.
Sledgebluke.
Oh, caught.
What'd you drop?
Almost dropped Luna.
Oh no. Preach it, Dino. For the people in the back. Yeah, I always just like, because I know I was there when I was starting to draw that none of my sketches could be messy because that means they were bad. And that it was so hard to get out of my brain. So like, that's why I'm always cheering for like the, keep it messy. You let yourself do things because it's okay to be messy. It's good.
Unless if you're living at my house, then I expect you to clean up after yourself. I'm looking at you,
That's
Ellie.
fair. Look,
That glitter
I'm
mess
sorry.
took months.
Just wait till I make a plushie in your apartment.
Oh my god.
Have fun.
Stranger Saurus said just sketch it. Don't let your drawing dreams be dreams.
So from what Dino said, all I'm seeing is like a Bob Ross meme, but Bob Ross is Shia LaBeouf, and it's just like, just sketch it.
Stranger Saurus said let, not less.
Image, Steve.
Dragons.
Horses. She's from France. This is how we talk these days. Spike.
Dragon anatomy is weird in MLP. Like he's chubby. He's a chubby baby. That's literally what he is.
I mean, he can just gorge himself on crystals all day long. And those can't pass quick.
No. So the anatomy.
I think,
BFC said is Sledge the new Smurf.
I think one of my questions going on here is, where is Spike supposed to be looking? Because right now he's like clearing above. You know what? I retract my previous statement. Dragon Buddy here, I forget his name already because he seems to be an unimportant character at this point. Seems fine.
Yeah. The flow, I love the flow. They feel connected, like Spike feels like he's being dragged through the air. So that's a plus.
Looks so unamused. He is missing most of his spikes though, because Spike has spikes all the way down. And he made that neck really thin. Spike has a thick base of a neck.
And a thick base of a bod.
Yeah.
It's a very, very pear-shaped little bod. It's fine. It's cute. I have drawn Spike like once or twice, I think, and I did struggle before.
I just avoid him.
But he can be fun.
He's not part of the main six, it's fine.
He's a cute dragon.
The leg bits.
He's a bro. So spoiler, but he needs these things.
Spike's weird because he's very like we've been saying, chubby. So his legs are very short. Like they're a lot shorter than you like think they'll be.
I was really really hoping they would start making him slightly taller over time, like they did with Twilight, where she just over a few episodes she was getting slowly taller.
Nah, just slap some wings on it.
Yeah. This might be pre-wings. You get to pull that one. That episode's been out for what, 4 weeks, so it's fine.
Yeah, Spike has really, really tiny legs. I'd even argue to say you don't really need like the knee bump you have going on here, because his legs are kind of like a stick. They're like.
I don't know.
What is that, BFC?
Ouch, but.
What would it be a C?
Oh my God, CPC. What is happening in Discord right now?
I don't understand.
I don't know. I think they're in a different universe.
They're being crazy peeps.
Yeah, I honestly.
Tree trunk legs. Agreed.
Yeah.
Unless if you want to pull that, he's getting slightly older, so now he gets the ability to flex a kneecap.
You can always get Spike a kneecap, but if, well, I mean, he has his little wrinkled knees, right?
Yeah. I feel like I want to draw Spike more now. He's definitely underused in my art. Though at least I gave him a place in the Pony at Heart picture, because how could I not? He's one of the Pony fans. He's honorary Pony.
The rest of the dragons call him a pony, so
Yes.
So yeah, stubbier, tree trunkier legs. Just like.
Although the front leg.
They don't have to be an exact cylinder either. They definitely have a sort of like pudgy shape to them, like a curve.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very stubby and thick.
I would leave his front arms stretched out though, because that really adds to the
Yeah, because
motion.
that's like where the weight is.
Yeah.
That's where the tension's going. So we often, we often try to sort of inspire, like curviness and bendiness in limbs, and not to have anything too straight. But like when there's a lot of weight being pulled against them, that's definitely going to have that straight stretch in there.
It's still a cartoon. So, any other questions for us?
Not a question, but I just love this image of Spike when I went to Google for Spike Ribbons. It's just great.
I just got the poop image, so...
Yeah, I'm going to click on it. Oh yeah, the
movie.
the movie expression in the desert.
There's some really good movie expressions.
And yes, I think I remember like finding that as well, just like Googling reference, and it's just that picture everywhere.
Great. I'll post it for the people. People in the Picard. Yeah, I honestly, the style feels fine with the anatomy. Like, it definitely feels like how you draw, and nothing feels way out there.
What I would say about the tails they were asking about, let me just get a good color. So you got like the leg bending in. I would maybe sort of like accentuate the shape here. So you got like the back, maybe you could bring that out just like a little bit, and like make sure to emphasize where it's going into the leg. Then really pop out the tail and give it, because remember it's like it's going this way and it's gradually getting thicker. So you want to make sure it has that thickness at the base and follow it along through to here. Obviously, you're not going to draw that covered up by the legs, but you can see this is probably start something like this. I'm good at them tails from all the years drawing snakes.
Good swishy.
Need to do more dragons. I've been wanting to do like little cute dragons for years. I used to have a dragon character called Jake, and I never drew him.
Poor Jake.
I drew him very badly. And by the time I was like, oh wait, that's what I should be doing for the snout, and then like I haven't drawn him since. So I want to draw him again so I can do him properly. Yes, I am your expert of cuddly noodles.
American Dragon.
Oh god, I love that show when I was a kid.
American Dragon.
Oh, I loved that show. Scratch when I was a kid.
Stranger Saurus said flag it up.
When they like changed the art style and all the characters and everything, it's like, what is going on?
Remember Jackie Chan Adventures?
Yes. I don't remember much of it. I just remember Jay being a little amazing sassball, and the uncle just going one more thing over and over again. That was funny.
The talismans.
I need to watch that again. Like that was, I love that like premise of like a bunch of cool objects that have loads of power and stuff like Shaolin Showdown.
Oh, I was just about to, I was just
We
about
need
to
to
say
watch that. I started rewatching that a couple of years ago with my friend, and we never finished it. And I have it. I had it on my hard drive. I don't know if it's still there.
They made a new
But
one.
I need to
Apparently.
rewatch it with you guys. It was so good.
There's like a different challenge showdown with like
Wow.
a smaller Balder. I can't remember the kid's
Oh, I
name.
think I remember seeing something about that and just being like, nope.
Yeah.
You need to
But
watch
yeah.
the
All
original
right,
one, 'cause it's
cool.
great.
Thanks, Olivia. I'm glad we could be helpful.
Yeah.
Last call.
You're-
Anyone else have
you're
any art?
friend.
Any questions in general? We're happy to just ask questions if you don't have art, or answer questions.
Oh, I thought I was gonna start coming up with questions.
Do it anyway. Let's see who's paying attention. Answer some of our questions.
Who is the first picture we critiqued on our stream?
Oh God.
Actually, that is interesting. I want to know. I wasn't here, so I don't know, but that would be good.
I just remember the first time we attempted to stream. We attempted
Yep.
it as a podcast, and that was a mess.
Yup.
Oh,
Absolute mess.
well, because you didn't have like the live peeps to ask questions.
But we
we're trying to
Yeah, sorry.
record individual lines for it, and it was just always fumbling over. It was a lot of me fumbling
Oh.
over myself. Lots of it.
Yeah, and like I know I went on really long, and then like I was like, oh, I messed up. Can I start over? Like there's just a lot of nonsense.
Oh no. So I thought podcasts just had to be like something pre-recorded.
Well, yeah, that's we were. I mean, we were doing pre-recorded, but we were making it in segments. It's like each
Ah.
person got an image to critique, since we had a lot of people at the time wanting to volunteer.
And only 2 of those people are still here.
Hi,
Yeah,
Zom
but I
Zom.
just-
Hey,
I
how's it
just
going,
noticed
Allie?
you guys. Oh, the lady said they have a general question.
Throw
Alright.
the question into the
Right,
pool
easy.
of questions, and we'll swim in it.
Print it on a piece of paper and stick it on our face.
And mail
And
it
then
to
you
us.
can't read it, so I have to take it off and look at it. We can make it a paper airplane and try to get it to sail across the world.
Sometimes I think about these phrases we say, and like, which one could make a T-shirt?
Probably a lot of them. So they said, do you have any tips on starting to learn texture?
This is not going to be a fun answer, but this is the one I've heard the most, and I think has helped me the most. Studies. Studies. Small scale studies, large scale studies. Wow, it's really hard to say. Poof.
And some great scale studies
Scale studies.
when you're doing like dragons and snakes.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like, there's so many tutorials out there, and yes, they're very helpful, but I think there's also a lot you can learn from taking
Yeah.
a picture, having it next to you, and then trying to recreate it by yourself right next
Yeah.
to it.
And I would say, yeah, and like doing your own studies as well as just like looking at actual objects and trying to replicate that. It depends on whether you're doing, if you're doing like a painterly thing, then it's probably a very good idea to look at like tutorials in addition to your references.
Mhm.
If you were just doing like drawing, because like you obviously need to figure out how to interpret things with sketch, because you're not trying to make like a photorealistic drawing. You're basically trying to express how something feels with a few lines. I would recommend like looking at like comics and things, because I feel like there's a lot of sort of texture work in comics, like it could like a tree, or like you can imagine like some actiony comic and there's a giant like lizard attacking them, and you can imagine how like it's all scaly and you know, and
Mhm.
things like that, and like cloth and stuff, wood and metal and things that have texture to them, and it can give you some ideas on how to interpret that.
The more references, the better. Like,
Yeah.
something I do that's kind of fun, like when I want to learn texture for like line art and such, I get like the thing I'm trying to draw, like an actual image of it, and then I find someone that's already drawn that thing that I enjoy, like how they got the texture out of it and stuff. And like you kind of can put those two things next to each other and think about where did they decide to put these scales? Like, are they really that visible on the animal itself, or like using your observation skills? Because artists have madass observation skills.
Yeah. But have
It's our
those
superpower.
super analytical eyes.
I
It's a
have
lot of
special
studying.
eyes.
Specialize. But yeah. wish there was like easier answers to give in art, but most of the time it's like you gotta work for it.
Yeah, most of the time it's study.
Work it, twerk it.
Especially with the broader questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true. Making your own brushes can be great, but you gotta understand the texture before you can make a great brush.
Yeah. Because I was having this conversation with my friend because we were talking on the phone and I was saying about um she was saying she's really bad at backgrounds and I was like, oh, I should give you the some of the leaf and grass brushes and stuff that I made a grass brush and I had some really nice leaf brushes and cloud brushes that I like. And you know, doing trees is super easy because of these leaf brushes. And I've even used them for other textures as well, just because they're really helpful. And like my friend did the whole like, oh, I don't know, kind of feels like cheating. I was like, no, it is a tool
Mhm.
at your disposal. Like if I was like, it's as much cheating as just using a paintbrush or a
Like,
pencil.
here's the thing: people don't understand that you need to know how to use it. It doesn't just
Yeah,
magically
you
make
can't just
leaves.
yeah, exactly. Like I have the cloud brushes. One of them is so there's the ones that I have. There's three of them. It's cloud bubble, cloud detail, and cloud smudge. So the bubble one is just like a brush that has these like it's like sort of like a bit of a spray brush and has a bunch of random big blobs of white, just big circles, sort of blobbing like bubbles. And then there's the detail one, which is a bit of a sort of messy splotchy brush, and then the smudge one, which is sort of a more detailed version of the same that like has more sort of blending and paint smudging and stuff. But like you can't just like use them and shove them on. You have to like know like how to
Mhm.
form clouds and how to like get the shape on there and then how to build it up to what you're working towards and how to get
What
the detail looking
values to
right.
use, what hues
Yeah,
to
exactly.
use, you know,
It's
how to
just a
stroke
tool.
them up.
It's called a brush for a reason. It's just a brush. It's not like a magic cloud stamp. Magic. Here's a tree bump in the image because that's like actually just a piece of work that you're using. That isn't
Mhm.
something you made, but it's just a brush and who cares?
And as for the how to make a black and white image to color, it all depends on your program. Apparently for Eclipse Studio Paint, you just do the color layer. In SAI, I bet you there's a tutorial on how to do it in SAI. Just
Hmm.
gotta Google that up.
Yeah, I I feel with Psy there's a lot of stuff you gotta sort of look at how to do because the tools are a fair bit more limiting. But in a way that sort of forces you to do it in a more natural way. But like we were saying, there's nothing wrong with having a brush, and you can easily like use. CSP has some great brushes too, like even just like paint brushes and things, and then you
Hmm.
can get like awesome texture brushes and stuff. And I mean, like you can just like get a brush that's just like wood, like a wood texture or a rock texture or something, and then just like shove it over a part of your image. But like, what's wrong with that? You know, and even if it's something that someone else made, like you're interpreting the detail you have to put into your images, and like you can make your own as well. Like I spent a couple of days ago trying to make like a sort of river floor pebbles and stones brush, and it wasn't very good, but I tried. And the bright side, as a happy accident, I realized this brush because it was an image I was drawing of a centaur wading through a river, like from above, sort of a back shot. And I wanted to have like a river floor on it, and it wasn't working very well. But a happy accident, I realized it worked very well as the splattery painted like coloring on the centaur body, like uh, the color patterns. Like, oh, I found an extra use for this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you see when people get digital art for the first time that they like blending. Blending is something people crazily do when they have digital art. 'Cause it's like,
Oh
oh, I
yeah,
can
yeah.
blend now. I can make soft shades. I can, it doesn't
Lens
just have to
flares
be.
on everything.
Yeah, it looks
Admittedly, I
great.
definitely put lens flares on
Oh yeah,
everything. Only
blending
when
is
it was like applicable though, but yes. Because like what I was like, why not? It looks nice. It goes in the image. It's fine. Like I make them subtle.
tips on how to draw and sketch every day. See, this is hard because
Random. It's
it's
a
yeah,
very hard thing to do. Yeah.
it's really all depending on your discipline and ability to
Yeah.
evolve a habit. Now, a lot of the times, like, I know I struggle with that, and I talk to people about it, and I was in therapy one time, and my therapist really suggested starting like uberly small, like 5 minutes a day. It doesn't have
Mhm.
to be, 1,000 hours a day. It can just be do it for 5 minutes. That's your goal for this week. Do 5 minutes a
Yeah,
day.
you're not trying to like draw out an entire comic book each day. Like it's
Yeah.
just a simple thing.
You got to build that habit. You know, you don't just like gain it overnight. You got to slowly work up to it, and that's I've heard is the best way to cement it.
Because yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And it doesn't have to be an amazing piece of art every day. That's the other thing I think people get caught up in. It can just be some doodles. Because at the beginning, you're just building the habit.
Exercising your pencil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going out for a walk with your pencil.
Exactly, Delivy. Sometimes the 5 minutes is like a trick.
Remember,
You don't come up with crazy rules.
That's actually another thing. Like I don't do this anymore because I'm not really in town much. But I used to. Pastime of mine was I used to love sitting when I was going home from town. I would just like sit where the bus stop was in the seating area that no longer exists now. Although it's a Costa, so I could just get like a muffin and sit in the Costa drawer. Yeah, I used to sit in the seating area next to the bus stop and have a smoothie and just sit and draw for ages. And I don't really do much traditional stuff anymore. But if you have something like that, like a place you like to go and sit somewhere and just spend a little time each day, like out in the nice weather and drawing somewhere, or maybe not, but something like that can give you, or maybe each day you have like a nice drink or a nice snack or something like an ice cream or a nice beverage that you don't want to have too much of, but it's a nice treat each day. You can combine that with your drawing. Like I don't want to have any more than one kind of monster a day, so when I do have one, I like to have it while I'm drawing, and I'm sort of like enjoying this nice drink while I'm having some sketch, and it's fun. That way you have something to look forward to in addition to the fun drawing.
Another thing could be like, another thing I was suggested to do is that you make it a scheduled thing. Like, first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, you spend 5 minutes drawing. So like every time, before you do anything else, before anything takes your time away from doing it.
Draw poems, brush teeth.
Wake up, draw. Yeah, exactly. Like, just make it into a habit.
BFC said, "Oh, I like that."
Yeah, it's not a lot of time, right? 5 minutes. You can spare 5 minutes in your morning routine.
Though to be fair, I don't even I never remember to even brush my teeth in the morning.
Well,
I do at night, so it's just like I haven't eaten any sugar in my sleep, believe it or not.
I don't believe that.
Strangersaurus said 7 a.m. waking up in the kitchen, gotta get out your sketchbook, gotta draw some ponies.
Why did that sing it to us? Why?
I heard it that way too. And as for the your brain going blank, there are a lot of things that may seem obvious, but like I know I ignore them because I'm like, it's gonna make me do things because it's so obvious. But there are like 1,002 generators online. You can look to your left and draw your chair or pillow. You can like look out your window and draw the tree that's there or bush. Or if you're staring at a brick wall, draw the brick wall. There is so much around you. It's impossible to have.
You can't think of anything to draw, and you're sitting there staring into space, drawing a blank. Draw a pony staring to space, drawing a blank. Like you can get a character, just think of a random expression. And or even just some crazy interaction, like just a pony staring at another one or whatever. Just you can, or whatever characters you like to draw, you can just come up with silly expressions or have like an expression sheet and just look at it and say, I feel like drawing this one today.
And like even if you, because like even that sometimes can be hard to do. Just like look around. There is an object somewhere to draw. Like.
And
I'm staring at boxes. I could draw some boxes. That could be my 5 minutes sketches for the day.
And boxes are the perfect study thing.
Yeah, like you get mind control.
So exactly on this subject, just looking around my room. Anyone who I've shown pictures of my room to knows that every conceivable surface, not just the walls, the ceiling, every cupboard door, every like side of the shelves, inside of them, everything. Every single surface in my room is covered with pictures. I just print them off the internet. Just pictures of ponies, characters from stuff I like, just snakes, nagas, everything that I like. There's all the pictures everywhere. Lots of mermaids and centaurs, of course. And it's just fun to look at. So everywhere I look in my room, I'm just like overstimulated from just so many creative things that I want to do. And it gets, I am constantly like imagining, daydreaming because I can't escape it. So it's that kind. If it is possible to set that up, even if it's not that, but you just have like a rotating set of backgrounds on your computer or tablet or laptop or something, or your phone, and it's just like a screensaver that has a bunch of pictures, so you have your own little collection of art that you love. And sometimes stuff come on, it's like, oh yeah, I've always been wanting. I love that picture from like 7 months ago when I saved it from Tumblr. I've always been meaning to try and draw that myself, and it's okay to do that.
I'm gonna post a fun generator.
Ooh, sounds fun.
I tried to post a generator, but CPC just fluffed it.
Oh my god. Here, have the
now we have a
Drawfee
fluff
generator.
fueling the fluff apocalypse.
If you guys have never heard of Drawfee, go check them out because they do the ultimate nonsense drawings. Like, they are the kings of just drawing whatever. They just like get a topic and they have to do whatever.
They're pretty great,
But
but
like a good idea. That's like it's totally. It might be too much, but like I was thinking about like art blogs and like silly drawing things, like what TJ Pones does. Like he has this silly blog with this character, and like he'll just draw random silly jokes from his life. So you could just like have just like a character like that, and then like if something silly happens in your life, or just something everyday, something you want to make a joke out of, or just draw the character doing, you can just do everyday slice of life little things, and it could just be a silly little easy doodle, without like much like attention to anatomy or anything. It can just be like TJ Bones and stuff, where it's just like a really simple, quick. Here's a general pony shape.
Draw rare potatoes. Yep. Everybody draw rare potatoes. That is how you get better at drawing. That is
It's
the
the
true
secret.
key.
You
It's
need
the
to
secret.
worship to the raritator god.
Sacrifice to the rare potatoes. You must bring a potato to the rare potato shrine every morning, and that they bless you with drawing powers.
sounds about right.
So, any other random questions?
Fluff, fluff, fluff.
But you do pronounce drawing wrong. You realize that, Ellie?
Drawing.
Do I?
Yeah, because this guy exists. And he
What
pronounces
did she
drawing
say?
right every single time.
I
Drawing.
don't get the job.
I need to listen to it.
What is this?
He's an amazing artist. Just there people go. He just sort of goes at it. He doesn't ever has an idea of what he's drawing. He just goes. Now this is a man who's been doing this all his life, and this is his style, is just sort of free-handing whatever.
That's pretty cool. I remember
Like, this
Shika was
is-
doing
this
something
is-
like that once, like just drawing whatever came to mind and just letting the pen flow to weird places.
This is like the ultimateness of like if high school students just continued doing what they were doing
Yeah.
for a profession.
I never did much of those like drawing patterns and things. I just used to do little characters and make like little flip note animations in the corner of my pages.
Okay. Did you guys have like the weird dollar symbol?
Yeah, the
the spiky S thing you can draw in one.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not just me or like, America. I didn't know if it was like everywhere.
There's a
'cause
name
everyone
for it. I
drew
can't
it.
remember what it's called. I
Yeah.
don't know what it means. I thought it was like a gang symbol or something, or some graffiti thing. But everyone drew it.
Done. What?
Wow, that is art. That is pure art.
So it was definitely used for pot at our school. There's little small baggies, little dime bags that had that symbol on it. So
God.
drawing that symbol got outlawed real quick.
You had that. You had that just happen in your school.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Okay. Then again, my classmates got deodorant spray banned for trying to get high off of my link.
That got banned because people used to create the deodorant bombs. You take
Oh my god.
an elastic band to one, and you throw it on it and roll it down the hallway real quick, and just spray all the way down the hallway.
Oh my god.
Yikes.
High
At my school.
I've never. That didn't happen, no. But that would have been not as bad as.
This wasn't high school, but my school just banned Pokemon cards because of fear of fights, outbreaks, and jealousy of Pokemon.
Pokemon cards were our only release. And Beyblades.
Once the principal took my Beanie Baby away from me because it had Velcro on it, and she said it was dangerous to the other kids.
Oh my
Because
god.
I slid it across the table.
My
That is
gosh.
like how hardcore my
Yeah,
school.
my teachers were always, because like my friends and I would play little games and stuff. I didn't have a Game Boy, but does anyone remember this thing called Scanners?
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah, yeah.
toy that you scan barcodes and get monsters. I loved it. My friend and I were playing with those, and then like we'd bring them to school and just play with them. I don't think it was my teacher, but one of the teachers or learning assistants or whatever was just like constantly like, "Oh, bring in these stupid toys, grow up." And it's like, I look back at it now and I'm just like, I was 12. Like, what do you mean grow up? I'm still playing Pokemon to this day. Thank you very much.
And with that,
So crazy.
we don't have any new art, so I think we're gonna call this a day. Thank you all for coming.
Ooh,
And
thank you.
yeah, next week we're still here next week. There might be a break on the 31st. We'll see.
Yeah.
You know.
All hail school where boredom drives you to become an artist.
Yeah.
So long.
Bye.